Okay.
Okay. All right, Mark, thanks for joining this.
Sure.
Doing an interview today. So, for those that are listening, this is Marc Townsend, based in Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Yeah, just on the
Around.
outskirts of Atlanta.
Yeah, all right. And he is the president of the Plumbing University online education site, and then also commercial plumbing division manager with Lawson Air Conditioning and Plumbing. And I understand you said you did used to run your own company as well. So maybe you could just tell us a little bit more about how you got started in the plumbing industry in general, how you started your business, and then just any kind of helpful insights along the way that you've learned.
Sure. So I was raised in this industry through my father. I'm a second generation master plumber. I got my plumbing license when I was very young, at 19 years old. Um, I'm ashamed to admit this, but the Georgia Plumbing Code book at the time was the first book I ever read cover to cover. Um, so and I've read it several times, and as they come out with new editions, I constantly read them. So I was always I was always really wanting to to learn more about the industry. So I got into it young, and then it got to a point where my father couldn't teach me enough. He was mainly his area that he worked in was mainly residential. I wanted the bigger and the better, the huge buildings, the industrial sites, you name it. So I left working with my father at about age 21, and started job hopping like most of us do in the industry, construction industry, and worked my way up. Very knowledgeable, really quick, and became a foreman over large construction projects at the age of 22, which was very, very tough because you had guys working under you who were, in their 40s and 50s, and
Oh, sure.
they didn't want to take all that information in from some young whippersnapper coming in. Um, and So I work for several large mechanical contractors, very diverse in what I've done. Over the years, I've done everything from, residential work, all the way up to I've worked on Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the Atlanta Braves Stadium, which is now Truist Park, the Fox Theater located in Atlanta, which is there's a huge renovation to that historic theater. It was built in 1919, so a lot of high profile jobs that I've worked on over the years. And I worked my way up to project management and so on and so forth. So I had got into the business because I had remarried, um, and the company that I was with at the time had sold it. They were a full MEP contractor, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing contractor. Um, so they sold the electrical division, just shut down the mechanical and plumbing. So I was out of the job. Recently remarried. My wife was a successful marketing director at the time. She's like, just start your own business. I'll get you going. Okay, sure. So we printed out flyers in 1998 and started stuffing mailboxes and using the contacts that I had. We had our business 20 years and sold it, and started working for other people again.
Right. That
So
helps to have a wife that's a marketing person, right?
yes, it
Yeah.
does. Yes, it does. And you know, some of the challenges, that was one of the questions you had sent to me. Um, some of the challenges that I had to overcome was, I was great at what I did. I knew the ins and out of being out in the field, being able to run a project. But when you own your own business, you have to also wear the hat of an HR manager, accountant. You got to learn how to do collections in a reasonable way. Um, And I mean, you wear multiple hats. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I can imagine.
so it's very tough when you get into your own business. I apologize for that.
It's all good. I have one
Uh,
in my house too, but she's being quiet.
yes. Yeah, I've got two horses here. They're big dogs. Come here. Um, so um,
So,
so
and maybe could you just explain a little bit what it was like? Like, so in the beginning, you were doing a lot of stuff, obviously on your own. You're probably like working out in the field and then doing the business stuff. And then, at what point did you start to? I would assume you started to hire some more people, or what did that look like for you?
yeah, at first, I had a lot of contacts, in the industry. So when you first start out, you're willing to make money doing anything. Um, you know, one guy, he wanted me to redo his whole bathroom, including, the sheetrock, the tile, and everything. And unfortunately, you know, I can do that stuff. So I was doing, over and above to, just keep cash flow coming in. And eventually, the word gets out, and you start getting referrals, so on and so forth. And then you sign up with a lot of people in this industry that get into mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. They will sign up to do work for like home warranty companies. Um, and that helps get your name out there too. But, there's a lot of tricks to that. When you sign on with home warranty companies, you're really not making, the money you should be making. Um, so, and it's very tough. It's very aggravating sometimes. I'm not bashing the home warranty companies. I'm just, my experience is it was very aggravating.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of what I've heard as well.
yeah, and so we went into business early in 1999. I hired my first plumber about 6 months going into business, put him out there full time. And I mentor him today because he's in his own business.
Hmm.
He's been in business for 3 years, and we meet once a week to have breakfast. And, I try and keep him from making the same mistakes I did.
Yeah.
Um, because there's a lot of mistakes you make, and we're going to learn from them
Hmm.
the hard way because, we're stubborn. Um, the best piece of advice I could give to somebody who's trying to get into business is listen to the old farts like me, excuse my French. Listen to us. Gather a mentor. Sit down, take a notepad, go to breakfast, go to lunch, have regular meetings, come in with a boatload of questions. Because myself, I am loaded with nothing but knowledge about this industry. So
Yeah.
part of my core values is to add value to others daily. And I do that by, this information that I have in my head to pass it along. That's
Yeah.
part of it. And, it's, you can try it and be stubborn and learn it on your own, or you can listen to somebody, get a mentor,
Mm.
and follow their advice. Take it from somebody who's been there before, and you will be successful if you get the right mentor.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So
great. That's great.
yeah. So some of the challenges, you know, right now you know, the economy is not in the best place right now.
Mhm.
We're kind of upside down. Um, and in the constructions or the skilled trades industry, these guys are writing their own tickets. So as far as hiring individuals, there's there's really only two ways that you're going to be successful, um, or three ways. The first way is by accident. somebody got ticked off, quit, they came to you, they're a good technician, they want to come to work for you. That
Right.
person's going to, in turn, tell his buddies, and it's a networking thing. So you've got that method. The next method is you outbid the other company.
Mhm.
So you start throwing out, in this Atlanta market, we're seeing $10,000 signing bonuses for service technicians.
Oh, wow.
And, they'll pay it out, a third, a third, a third. You got to be here over a course, or be at that position over the course of 120 days or something. But that's a lot of money. And they can justify that by their rates that they charge. And that's in the service industry. Because their recruiting costs, it's, you get a recruiter out there, it's going to cost you some money to get somebody.
Yeah.
And when you get somebody good, hang on to them, treat them like they're your best customer. Not your customers. Your employees are your best customers. Take care of them, spoil them. You don't have to throw money at them. So the company I'm at right now, after my first 90 days, I did a SWOT analysis, which is the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, on what I saw as the company and what what all those opportunities lead. One of the great things that I saw about the company I work for is the longevity of the people that work there. They've been in business for 76 years. They've got guys working there still that's been there for 35 and 40 years. And they're just, they're shuffling around. They're not out in the field digging ditches or doing stuff, but they're, some of them are still shop guys, some of them are in the office. But this company has done something right over the years. And one example of that is a Christmas bonus. They gave out hams to everybody, and they've done that ever since the inception of the business. And they also gave out cash as a bonus, just a Christmas bonus. So as the IRS structures a bonus, if you put it on your check, they're going to take 40% taxes out.
Right. Yeah.
So
I've
seeing
experienced
that seeing that cash come in hand, that means a lot, especially if you understand, the value of, what you're getting when the IRS takes it, So, but there are no tricks to recruiting good technicians or, field guys. Once you get them there, you've got to keep them. And lastly, we have to develop them. You need to hire young. You need to find somebody with a great attitude, energetic, and you can fast track them through with the right curriculum. You can fast track them through and get them up to speed. Before I took this job last year, I was the plumbing service manager at a large company here in Atlanta. There's 40 plumbers that were up under me. And one guy in particular, he came in and could barely read a tape measure. And when I left there, he had 4 years of experience, and his W-2 showed $150,000.
Wow.
From
Just
being
from 4
as
years.
green as green could be. The main thing is he took the initiative to meet with somebody and always ask questions and not be a know-it-all.
Yeah. So it sounds like what you're saying is, even for if you're a smaller company or just kind of starting out and you're just starting to hire, it may not be so much about how do I find the right person, but it's like once you find the right person, maybe just you might have to be a little patient, but once you do, then really take care of them, mentor them, let them grow and flourish.
Yes. And that's something that we all do. We're kinesthetic learners. We're hands-on learners. That's another thing you have to do if you own your own business. You've got to adapt your learning style as well. Um, but a lot of guys out there, when we hire an apprentice to work alongside a crew or work alongside somebody, um, they don't necessarily have the patience to sit down and explain why they're doing what they're doing. And another thing I'm finding is the guys are the guys that are actually the lead guys don't even know why they're doing it. They can't answer that question.
Oh,
They
okay.
just do it because this is the way I've always done it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what we've implemented is we are, we have training classes every Tuesday at our office. We pay them an hour and we ask them to participate and give an hour of their time.
Mhm.
And we go through my curriculum and we just set it down, say, here you go. We're going to start at, DWV systems or water systems. Um, you've got to constantly educate people
Yeah.
consistently. And, we're a dying breed. Um, the average the average age of plumbers in the United States is 41 years old.
Hmm.
And for every one of us old guys retiring out, for every two of us retiring out, there's only one coming back into the trade.
Hmm.
And that one
Interesting.
person
Okay.
is not skilled necessarily.
Yeah,
So that's what the statistics are telling us.
right. So
Yeah.
and since forgive me, since I am not a plumber, so I might not be as familiar with this, but for somebody to get started, they could kind of work under somebody and still learn and then get their plumber's license, or because I know you have licenses, right, in certain
Yes.
places.
Yeah, there's so in the state of Georgia, you're in South Carolina, correct?
North Carolina.
North Carolina, okay. Yeah, so I'm licensed in South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama. So they all have different licensing. So Georgia has they've got a journeyman license, they've got a master class 1, which is restricted, and they've got a master class 2, which is unrestricted. So, in order to get your journeyman license, you have to show 3 years of experience working full time for somebody.
Oh,
Then
okay.
you go in, you take a test. It's a multiple choice test. Um, in South Carolina, I think in North Carolina, Tennessee, and Alabama, they're all open book. In Georgia, it's not an open book test, so you've got to memorize all these math formulas, everything off the code books. It's
Oh,
a
wow.
pretty arduous test. Um, so then you have to carry your journeyman license 2 years before you can go get your master's license. And if you're just doing houses and stuff, residential work, that's what the master class 1, takes care of.
Oh, okay.
And technically, everybody that's goes on you're supposed to have a licensed plumber on every job site in the state of Georgia.
Hmm.
So you're not working under somebody's, like the owner of the company, you're not working under his license. We
Right.
we we are supposed to have a licensed plumber on every job. Doesn't have to be a master, but a licensed plumber.
Yeah. Okay.
So, it's it's a tough process, but if you want to do it, you can go do it. You can make money at this.
Hmm.
You can make a comfortable living, because I grew up pretty poor. Then when I got in business, I had money just rolling out my ears.
Hmm.
And then I went on a spending frenzy because, you know, so it's a catch 22, but there's a balance you got to have, and you got to learn that work
Hmm.
and home balance as well, because you can
Yeah.
work yourself to death.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That's
you
wise
really
words.
can.
Hmm. And how
And
big did you grow your business to be? Yeah, like how many people did you have working with you?
I had 22 guys at one time. We were
Oh
running
wow, okay.
we were running 10 trucks. So I had about 22 guys. And that was when I was doing a mixture of new construction and service work.
Hmm.
So in 2003, I changed my business model over to doing only commercial service. And I had, big accounts like Walmart and Sam's, um, Darden restaurants, which at the time was Olive Garden, um, got Red Lobster, Bahama Breezes,
Hmm.
Longhorn. So the commercial service, the profit margin is much greater doing commercial service,
Mm, okay.
but it's more of a B2B type scenario where you develop that relationship with the facilities managers or whoever, and they're going to call you. They'll wait
Yep.
unless it's a dire emergency, um, and they'll pay the money.
Wow. Yeah.
They'll pay the
That,
money for the good service. You don't have to worry about them haggling over.
right. Right. Yeah. That seems to be the case with commercial a lot, in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, sure is.
How did you how did you develop those relationships? Like what was your marketing strategy, so to speak?
So it's funny. One night, a Sam's Club called me at 11 o'clock at night, and I think it was a holiday. I don't know what holiday it was. It's been so long ago, and I was the only one. He called like 5 or 6 companies. All of his regulars, they wouldn't answer the phone, so he called me. And I said, "Sure, I'll come out there." They had a mainline stoppage, and so I went out there, took care of them. Um, he says, I can get you set up on the building because we don't just pay you. We can't do that. And I said, that's fine. I understand. I know where you're at. You know, I'll pick it outside your door, whatever, if you don't pay me. And so that manager, he just so happened he had um, one of the busiest Sam's Clubs that we have in our area. And he was a uh, manager. He's like a district manager as well. So he put the word out to all the others, start calling him. Next thing you know, they invite me to this conference that they're having, and there's facility managers and general managers from all these other stores. I'm in there throwing business cards out and just networking. And my strategy is being the good old boy, and
Hmm.
and I didn't. I always delivered.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was hard for me to say no. That's something business owners, especially new business owners, it's hard for them to say no. I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I would never say no, and I would always deliver, and I'd always be straight up and honest with them.
Yeah.
And that's what kept me going. And word of mouth just travels, and these guys hop from place to place, and and now all of a sudden you got another location, then another location.
Mm,
So
yeah. Yeah.
there's really not much marketing involved with that. It's all
Right.
about word of mouth. Um,
Exactly. Yeah. Referrals and yeah, just providing value and
yes,
just keep serving people, providing value, and it'll multiply.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes. You got to take care of them.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Do you
But
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, I was thinking of a question just popped in my mind about the commercial and residential thing. Do you think it's a good idea for plumbing business owners to um maybe just start out residential and then maybe later add on some commercial jobs, or is it better to like focus on one, or what do you think about that?
It's tough to have a mixture, especially if you want to grow.
Yeah.
If you're just starting out, if you're good at one thing, if you're good at commercial, do the commercial. It's going to be hard for you to go into business unless you have some contacts, and you're going to get
Right.
those contacts by either the relationships that you've built at the company you're presently working for. Um, But once you develop those contacts, and you can't be scared to go out there and just knocking on doors,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
talking to people. Every restaurant you go to, give a business card. One of the easiest ways I know to get in front of a general manager of a restaurant, when the server comes and you're almost done with your meal, tell the server you'd like to speak to the general manager, because they automatically think, okay, there's
Something's
something
wrong.
wrong with me. And the general
Yeah.
manager will always come to that table.
Yep. Yep.
And you throw your business card out there and you give them the spiel and say, hey, let me take care of this for you.
Right. Yeah.
And, they may say yes, they may say no.
Yeah.
You just got to do it. So
That's a really practical tip right there.
residential, you're going to spend about 25% of your revenue earnings are going to go, or as much as 25% are going to go towards your marketing budget if you want to grow your business.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to grow slow by word of mouth.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a slow venture. And, unless you're bankrolled to be able to handle that slow time. It's tough, but you can also go out and put door hangers on, and word of mouth, it travels, because
Right.
we're always going to need plumbers. You're always going to need HVAC. You're
Yep.
always going to need electricians. Now, Home Depot has hurt our trades to a degree. It's also helped them because they're open until 10 o'clock at night,
Right.
and you can go get stuff on late hours, versus having to pay a supply house and give them an extra $500 to open it up, and you have an emergency in your part. So yeah, it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
If you're good at commercial service and you've been doing it a while, then you have some contacts already. Residential service, if you want to get into it, maybe you get hooked up with some property management companies that service, that handle townhomes or handle Airbnbs or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or networking groups, BNI is really good as well.
Yes,
those kind of
yes.
contacts.
Yeah. And yeah, you've got to constantly network. You just got to constantly be moving and shaking. And unfortunately, that phone is going to ring, and you have to answer it.
Yep.
Even on Christmas, you have to answer it.
Yeah, so, that's right.
It's your wife's going to get mad at you for answering the phone in the middle of the night while you're laying in bed next to her. And my wife and I had a rule for years that if that phone rang while we were in bed, I couldn't answer it. I had to get up, go in the bathroom, close the door, go in the master closet, close that door, and then come back.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
fair enough.
it could be one of two things. It could be an employee having troubles that night, or it could be a customer.
Yeah.
And if an employee calls you late in the evening for some reason, it's usually there's a major issue. And
yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Sometimes the tensions may get a little heated. So
yeah. Yep.
But
all right. Well, I guess we're a little
approaching
almost
our
out of the time, but I have a time limit on this Zoom. But
okay.
Yeah. I guess really just I was going to kind of ask what you thought about with the upcoming recession, like how should people be prepared for it? You kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, but anything else you want to comment on?
With we're going to hit a hard streak here, and I've been through several of them. As I kid around, I'm older than dirt. But we're gonna hit some hard times here soon. And the way that if you are already in business, the way that you overcome those, is being diverse and adaptable. The service sector will always have work, especially the commercial service sector. You will always have work. even in recession times. When COVID hit, we were in full force. We did not slow down one bit.
Yeah.
Residential and commercial service. So if you're in new construction, be ready to adapt over to service, and or diversify your company, and start offering both. Because
that's good.
When new construction goes down, you're looking at doing jobs at a 20 to 25% margin. You're looking between 50 and 70% margin on service work. So, and you can keep your guys busy too, instead of laying them off.
Exactly.
They may not like to do service work, but hey, do you want a job? I'm going to keep you busy. I want you happy.
This is the work to do.
This is it.
Yeah.
Because he won't be rolling out and going to work for somebody else. If everybody's going to start hurting in new construction.
Yeah.
Right now we're booming. We're slammed. Right now I've got close to $8 million worth of plumbing projects alone, and we've got another, I don't know, 5 or 6 million that we're negotiating right now, on top of the $30 million we do in mechanical. So, and we're busy for the next 24 months.
Oh, wow.
Unless the jobs just shut down.
Yeah.
But our company also does have a service division as well.
Okay.
So they've learned a long time, after 76 years, they've learned to be diverse as well.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they've been around that long.
But there's really good money in this. I could go on and on and on about the skilled trades and how how we need people and what's happening. We pushed a 4-year degree. You hear everybody saying that.
Yeah.
Go to college. Well, look at the student loan debt. I mean, we're what are we right now? 1.75 trillion with a T dollars in student loan debt.
Yeah.
That the U.S. government is. Yeah. And, the unemployment, I had some stuff printed out. The unemployment rate is, it's pretty good, but there's still, in the United States, there's like almost 6.5 million people unemployed right now. And we have 11 million jobs available. What is going on there?
Right. I know.
There's something going on. Either people are sitting at home, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
There's just not a lot of clear direction. Yeah.
Yeah. So
what's available, and then we need to make that known.
Yeah. So, everybody's got their side hustles. A lot of this stuff could be the online communities doing, making money that way. And that's not being reported for the unemployment stats or business stats. But anyways, I could just jump into that stuff and talk about it for days. But
sure.
Mike Rowe is a big advocate, and he talks about it a lot. And he still pushes it really hard about getting people into skilled trades. The one thing I do want to say about plumbing, you got the stereotypes of the big fat guy bending over. And I can tell you, they do make long t-shirts just for that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that. But there's a stigma that's been going along in this industry. All the jokes and all that stuff. But something I always like to leave people with is during the 1939 World's Fair, there was a massive outbreak of amoebic dysentery. Happened in Chicago. And it all pinpointed back to the way that their plumbing system was installed, and it was leaking sewer water over an open water tank. And it killed, I don't know how many people, but there are so many case histories of health related issues. So, you know, if you're going to get into this, don't get into it and just be, you know, lollygagging around, because, you know, this is, you can kill somebody very quick. You can wipe out a community.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
if you just don't install a water line correctly.
Right. It's good to think about that there's a lot of value in what plumbing companies are offering and providing, and yeah, it's a huge for society.
Yeah, everybody thinks, oh, I can be a plumber. I've gone to Home Depot and bought some fittings and glue them together. Yeah, I can do plumbing. There's a lot more to it than that.
Right.
There's a lot more to that.
Mm.
So, you know, what I like to do is I like to teach everybody the right way and
Yeah,
teach them the why behind it. Otherwise, why learn it?
yeah, that's good.
If you don't know why you're doing it, you
Hmm.
know, and there's so much out there now, the industry is rapidly changing.
Yeah.
And plumbers in general are scared of electricity.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, look at all the electronic faucets that are out now and all that other stuff. So,
Oh, true. Yeah.
and got to get away from that.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, Mark, I've got a minute left on this Zoom, so sorry about that. I need
well,
to upgrade my account probably, but
I
yeah,
appreciate it. It was a pleasure talking with you.
you
And,
too. Yeah,
anytime, you know, you want to sit down and chat, I'll chat all day long.
definitely. I'll keep you in mind. We might have other topics to cover, so that
All
would be
right.
great. All
All
right.
right. Well,
Thanks a
thank you
lot,
for the
Mark.
invite.
All
All right.
right.
We'll see you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.